Listening.
All right. Tokyo, thanks for stopping by today. How are we doing
Word,
today?
word, bro. I'm good. I'm good. Trouble doesn't last no ways. I am here. What's going on? Talk to me.
Not too much, man. I mean, obviously, there's been a show that's come out. How are you feeling so far about the reception and everything? I'm sure it has to be like a little foreign to you since this is probably not a social navigation system that existed your first time around.
Well, I mean, I don't like I see the feedback, from like DMs and stuff like that, and it's a blessing. I'm very thankful. But also I don't watch. So what I do is I try not don't try to avoid, but I read what's going on, but I don't, I never get too high, never get too low.
Yeah.
It's excuse me, it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
Well, what is maybe the reason for you not watching? Was it any like trepidation or just, once you get done with the finished product, it's not something you need to see over again?
Yeah, bro. I mean, think about it like this, right? Everyone is an artist. You just have to figure out what your art is, right? Um, and we are seven artists that performed and did our thing, and there can never be more than an original than that right there, being there live. To watch the edited version is not the original, right? So I can, be confident in knowing that um, I was there. You know, I don't want to, you know, dilute or, um, you know, bring the original experience down by looking at someone else's story of it. Um, so I just never watched, bro. I just never, and also like I don't know about like when you leave your voicemail. Like I can't listen to myself on voicemail. I can't listen to myself talk, or I can't look at myself. It's hard for me to like post selfies. It's hard for me to do this. So I just don't look. I just don't watch. I let people enjoy for the art that it is. When you create art, your responsibility at that point is over. Okay. Now you let it go. Let it be interpreted. Let it be, inhaled by others. That's not your responsibility. You create the art and then let it go.
Right. I'm actually the same way, As soon as I get done with these, I'm always like, what's next? I'm never
Right,
focused on what had happened or what's happening. It's always what's going to happen,
right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Was there any trepidation with that, stepping back into this and doing this show, knowing that like there was going to be added eyeballs this time around?
No, I wasn't fearing anything. I wasn't. There was no really trepidation. I think the only hesitation that I had was, if there's not all seven of us, because the homecomings, to my understanding, so far we're the only ones that had seven, all of us. You know, but I think that I wasn't like concerned, that okay, now there's social media. I mean, I am cognizant of it. Yes, I understand that there is, social media, but um, like if you notice, I have like maybe 3,000 whatever. I mean, the my art Instagram. I don't let people know what that is. I just do my thing, and I've actually not deactivated it, but I have stopped it for a little bit. But I like my little corner of the internet where it's small. I don't have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, and because I can't communicate with thousands and thousands, like 10,000. It's just very hard. And being that I'm low key, literally just I don't do much. It's a good thing. So I mean, I didn't have any hesitation. It's just perfect. It's just perfect.
How did you feel about maybe the first time around when you were depicted on the show? Were you happy with it, or were there some things when you were like, nah, this isn't for me?
Well, I mean, again, I didn't watch, so I do know what I presented. I do know um, that I was present for me being there, and I had so many issues as far as who I was and trying to find myself. But I don't have a problem with um, anything anybody says because I know what I am, right? I'll tell you about my flaws. I'll tell you what I don't do well. I'll tell you where I am short. However, when it all comes, at the end of the day, there is nothing that you can tell me or say to me that is going to change my mind that um, as long as I keep moving in the direction of progress, I will be as the best me I can be. So no, I don't. I don't. One of the reasons I don't watch is again, you know, let people have their fun. They like to talk, let them talk. But I don't watch. I just don't. So what depicted of me, I just know what I gave out, the energy that I gave out.
I always joke that it seems like the fans care more about it than the cast does after living it out. Is that a fair thing to say?
That the cast care about
That the fans care more than the people that actually lived it.
well, I mean, but that's how it should be, right? So we're creating the art and then we give the art and you're supposed to appreciate and dissect and talk about the art. That's the beautiful thing about art, right? It starts a conversation. And regardless of what side you're on, it's a conversation. And it brings a fervor. It brings such a such a everybody's like to the umpteenth degree. They love to just talk about the issues. And that's fine. That's great. And that's what it's supposed to be like. Because if nobody did, then we didn't create, what we are capable of, you know. But I don't mind that at all. That's their prerogative.
Hmm. Did you want to get away from like the spotlight after a while? You kind of did your time in the sun, and then New Orleans had happened. You went and did two challenges, and actually, when I had Melissa on, she said that you didn't even remember those challenges that you did.
I mean, I don't. I know the challenges. Pretty much as soon as I get there, like a day later, I'm already done. I don't like challenges.
How come?
It's just not my vibe. It's just not my vibe. It usually involves swimming or some ocean or some large
Yeah.
body of water, and I don't know how to swim, so I'm already done. You know what I mean? So what's the? I mean, maybe one day if it's in a desert, and there's no water, I don't know, but it's this challenges just aren't my thing. And
Everybody assumed that was in your wheelhouse back in the day because you were like into
well,
bodybuilding and all that stuff.
yeah, but then again, that's an assumption, right? And again, I didn't give you anything to like you say, to aid in your understanding of what I do or what I think or what I like. Competition, I love competition, but it's competition that is more of a cerebral type of thing. Um, it's unfortunate that, I mean, just because a person is in shape doesn't mean that they love sports. They're just in shape, you know.
Hmm.
Um, and personally, for me, challenges just, yeah, like I could die. Like it's just not going to, it just doesn't roll well with me. So I just don't partake. I do remember it. I remember going home immediately because there was water. As soon as I
Yeah,
saw water, I was like,
you
okay,
were hanging
that's it,
upside down, I think.
bro.
From some,
Yeah, something or something like that.
yeah.
And it was just done. I think it's we're a very first of all, we are the best cast of all time in
You
real
think
world
so?
history.
Wow.
I think so. And I'll take that to a different level. I know so. See, here's the difference between you didn't ask that question. I'll get to that a little bit later. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, I actually want you to continue. I was actually intrigued.
Well, the thing is this. Most of the cast, to my understanding, when they get done, they either move to LA or they have, they have there's a purpose that they're going to
Right.
use this for, right? Um, we literally didn't speak to each other for 22 years, right? Because we are artists and cerebral in the sense that the original, again, we were there. You can't do better than that. So we all went our separate ways. So when we came back together, it's truly like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in 22 years. Other casts can't say that. They're always keeping in touch because everybody's in LA or it's you're just in that circle. We did not at all, and we're the thing is that it's hard to project mental strength or
Hmm.
hard to project mental acuity or abilities and things like that. It's easy to to win a relay race, obviously, or lose it, But for us, we are a very, very cerebral cast, right? And it's one of those things where I feel that the things that we talk about, the things that we hash out, the things that happen, they're all like real, right?
Raw.
It's raw, and see, the thing is that rough edges are what people pay for, right? So usually what people try to do is they try to round out the rough edges so it can be more presentable, so people can not be so much of afraid of whatever you're presenting. But for us, it's like all of our discussions, all of our interactions, they are just like raw, like jagged edges and just all of that. But yet we still find a way to, yeah, I may not like you right now, however we're living in this. It's a I can't really explain it, bro. But if this show, if this season, this homecoming, um, gets any awards or accolades, it will prove my point that we are the most amazing cast of ever of all real worlds.
No, you're actually seeing it very evidently too with the way the press is talking about it and the way people are receiving it and talking about it as a whole. Because I think if you notice from the first two homecomings, it was like more of like a nostalgic, oh, everybody's back together, let's
Right,
rub
right,
elbows for a few
right,
weeks. Whereas like there are real conversations being had right now, and you could just
right,
feel the intensity and the raw
right,
emotion. Like this is
right,
really a group of people that has not been going to each other's family barbecues over the years. Like,
right,
this,
right, bro. And but you speak truth, because what happens is now, okay, so we arrive at the house and we have 2 weeks. Some things just aren't going to be parsed in 2 weeks, right? But the incoming messages and us dealing with how we're going to deal with this, it's just, this is how it should be. This is how every homecoming should be. But you can't have that authentication of us not seeing each other for 20 years, 2 decades, right? You
yeah,
can't fake that. You can't. But we're the only ones that, I want to say, like, none of us kept in touch with either of us. But it wasn't a I don't like you, I hate you, or something like that. It's more of, again, we did this, we created our art, and it was a part of our life. We'll always be together, and now we go. Now it's different this type of this go around, just because I'm communicating more and being more involved with the castmates, and that's my difference this time. But we're just cut from a different cloth, bro. I truly believe that. I truly believe that.
yeah. There's definitely a little bit of a best of both worlds going on right now. Some of the other casts maybe like they were on the older side the first two seasons. Maybe don't want to get too
Right.
down and dirty. Whereas like you guys are still on like that. You guys are still on like an older OG season, but you're still like active enough to the point where you're not afraid to have like really razor edged type moments to where we
Yeah.
really see
Yeah.
get down to the nitty gritty here.
It's insane, bro. It's a good vibe. Okay, that was my
Yeah.
whistle.
Did you want to distance yourself from the show for a while? Because we actually saw on the show yourself. You explained like why you kind of decided to go with the Tokyo route. But was there any part of that in your identity that like you wanted to get away from David as the real world at all?
No, it's you, you can't. I mean, whatever you do in life, some of us, a lot of us have worked for McDonald's. You can't erase what you've done, right?
Yeah.
And you can't, get away from it. But what you can do is move on,
Hmm.
you know. So I didn't want to get away from it, but I just moved on.
Yeah.
And the only time that I would be reminded is when someone would say, "Hey, aren't you?" And then when that died off, it was like, okay, like I'm done. We're
Hmm.
moving on. I've never been the type of person to, like, if a person comes up and say, "Are you? I know you from somewhere." I will never tell you. I will give you every other possibility besides that, because unless you say it, then you're not going to speak it into existence. I'm not going to speak it into existence because I've moved on. You know what I mean? So no, I didn't. I don't feel I have to get away or move away from it. I've just moved on. Period.
Right. It's like graduating high school or college, like there's no
Yeah,
purpose to really like be like, hey,
absolutely.
look at me and go back to,
Right,
part.
right, 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 right. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah. What was maybe your story like though, getting onto your show originally? Like maybe what led you to trying out?
Will it be to audition?
Yeah.
I was procrastinating. I should have been writing a paper. And ultimately, I think I am like I'm a huge hardcore introvert. Like I'm pressing
Really?
like loner realm. Like right,
Mm.
and that's just me, and I'm comfortable that way. However, I also challenge myself, right, and say, hey, this would be, I mean, what better way, what more hardcore way can you put yourself out there and try to come out of your shell than to try to get on the show like this, right? It's not about like going to the latest frat party and trying to, get some friends or whatever. No, I'm going to go in the real world, and I'm going to be forced to live with six other people and go out. What's that? So that, to me, this was a way of saying, hey, try this and find out, if you are truly happy being how you are. And I am. You know what I mean? I am.
Was this an open casting call or something that you attended, or how?
No, no, no. I sent in a videotape.
Okay.
I sent a videotape. I've been to open calls or whatever where just the lines like snake around the building. But for me, I sent in a video, and then I got a response, and I sent another video, got a response, sent in another video. So mine was all video because I was in school.
Do you remember by any chance like what maybe those videos contained of you doing?
I mean, I think they played a little bit of it, maybe. I'm not sure. I know during the incoming message we saw. Actually, no, they probably didn't. Um, they replayed some of our old tapes when we were in the house, but um, it was just me being spontaneous and creative, right? Because that's what I was, and I was able to communicate that through the tapes or on the tapes. But then when I got there, oh, that shit just all hit the fan. It was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here, right? Because you just cannot prepare for six people you don't know is coming, six people, six strangers, and then the camera's representing everybody else in the world. Yeah, everybody else in the world is not watching, but it might as well be everybody else in the world, right? In perpetuity, forever. So this is, how can you say, like when I made the tapes, I just wanted to, show me. Which was a creative and spontaneous type of mental person, if that makes any sense.
Well, whatever you did must have won them over because you got on the show, of course.
Well, yeah,
But
and yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go
but
ahead.
but I think like maybe the David we saw in New Orleans originally is a much different contrast. I noticed from what people have gathered now. I would say like most people, if they were to characterize the David or the Tokyo rather that we're seeing now, is the voice of reason in the house, sort of, kind of very understanding, very wanting to get to know his roommates, and it's a different contrast than maybe the David that we saw on the original New Orleans.
I mean, I would definitely say different. And I don't really. I can only be the voice of me, right? If you agree, great. But there are some people that don't agree. There's always going to be someone or something that does not agree with you, right? That's life, right? There's always going to be a contingency of people who don't agree, and I'm not really. I think I've gone past. I think 22 years ago, I would have kind of, tread carefully. If I was more present and I was more communicative, I think I would have treaded, very softly, just in case I didn't want to upset someone or whatever like that. But now it's more of, I can't be the voice of anything but me. If you don't like it, okay, I get it. That I can respect. I can respect that you don't agree with me.
Hmm.
However, you still have to respect me. I still have to respect people who I don't agree with, right?
Yeah.
So that's it's it's kind of a trip that way, bro. I'm not here to. I think the saying is you can fool some of the people some of the time, some of the people's all of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the times or something like that. Whatever. Point is, I cannot um, get into my mind palace that I'm trying to win over, or this is becoming like a some kind of popularity thing where I'm saying something for. I'm just speaking me, speaking truth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you were a bit of an introvert. Do you think that maybe any of that was part of the factors in maybe not seeing eye to eye with your roommates the first time around? Like,
No,
were
no,
you
no.
misunderstood at all?
No, I don't. It was being an introvert just means that I just want to be by myself, right? I just want to, go and I don't want to go out. I just want to do this. I just want to, be whatever. Um, that held things back, yes, because I mean, obviously, if I'm going to constantly be by myself, then I'm not being with the roommates. Then I'm not talking to them. I'm not. So that hurt things a lot. But there's a way to be introverted. There's a way to be um, private and still be open to the wonders that other people bring and the ideas that people bring, and the understanding and just the stories, and just you can learn so much, but I don't have to shut it all down. So I've learned that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I learned was when I heard the trailer to your season and I hear the opening, it was almost like a different variation of Come On Be My Baby Tonight. It wasn't like the original, but
Yeah,
bro, when
yeah,
I tell you, when I hear that, it made me want to run through like a wall. It got me like that, like
yeah,
like
bro.
when you get chills from a song.
Yes, that I
Yeah.
thank you so much, inspired mind. I appreciate that. That was actually that was done by them. So I sent them the acapellas, and they licensed the song itself, and because they wanted something, they needed a feeling. They because I mean, I when I listened to it, I was like, wow, that was emotional. Like,
Yeah.
it was pretty fantastic, and they did a good job. I thought it was going to be some kind of like, because they told me we want to put some strings behind it, we want to do some things. I was like, okay, technically, "Come and Be My Baby Tonight" is three notes. Technically, it's literally just three notes, bro. But I was like, fine, do what you want to do, and they came up with that. I was like, wow, wow, because
Did you
you're
like it
right.
though?
I loved it. Oh, I
Like,
loved it. It was fantastic, man. It was fantastic. And they edited it so well. They did that well.
how did you come up with "Come On Be My Baby Tonight"? Was this like just spur of the moment, or was this something like you just found within yourself when you first
It was
wrote this
yeah,
song?
yeah. Like I'll turn on my audio recorder, or what do you call it, note taker, whatever it is on the phone, and I'll just leave it on because sometimes I'll just do random stuff, like sing something about Skittles.
Yeah.
Literally things that I create are just like the Chef Showtime. Those aren't like, I don't spend time like weeks and months creating it. It's just, okay, I'm gonna make a song about baked beans. Let's do baked beans. But yeah, Come On Be My Baby Tonight was literally just a spur of the moment thing, but it was for a purpose, because we needed an intro. So it didn't take like all night or something to make, which is the ironic part, because when I was trying to do music, you spend so much time doing something and nothing hits, and then you spend less time doing something and that hits, right? So Come Up Be My Baby Tonight was just a blessing. It was something that was for the castmates, for us, turned into something else, and it became one of the pillars in the show, and I'm excited about that. I'm really happy about that.
It's kind of crazy how that stuck, because I think when you
Yeah.
initially wrote the song, your roommates were like, "What the hell is this guy
Right,
talking
right, bro.
about?"
Exactly. So that was the whole thing. It's like the first time it was like, what is this? Like, what the hell is this? And without that, I mean, things happen for a reason. Without that happening that way, um, we wouldn't have this moment now.
The show might not be what it is.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm just saying, like, if they were like, "Oh my God, this is great," I don't know if the world at large would have been. People needed to know it's okay to say this song sucks, right? So this is, again, I don't listen, I don't care, what people are saying. I don't get too high, I don't get too low. But what happens is, and this is exactly when everything changed, when I got on Dave Chappelle and did the song.
I remember.
That is when it all changed for that song. Some people were like, yo, this shit is dope. Some people were like, yo, this shit is shit. Okay. Then when Dave Chappelle put his stamp on it and said, yo, this is my jam, that's when it became, that's when it grew legs. That's when it became, come on, be my baby tonight. That's
They
when it
had
became
you with like a hoodie on or something like that, right? And you were
on
playing
the
it
show
behind.
when I was singing it.
Yeah.
He had me with a leather hat or something. It was a leather hat. I was like, oh, bro, I was like so hot. I was in all leather, like all black, and yeah. And I actually don't have a piano part for "Come On Be My Baby Tonight," but I made it up when I got on stage because I didn't know what
Uh,
to because the actual track itself is produced. It has beats and this and that. It wasn't a piano song, but when I walked on Dave Chappelle, I was like, I better think of a riff, and I don't even know what key it's in, but I just played something. It was like, okay, we're gonna go with that.
that video's on YouTube too, in case you need to know.
What the
The David Chappelle and
well,
you thing.
I have the actual DVD. It's unopened, of course, but yeah, I was there. I don't want to look at it. I'm all good with it. You know.
Was that like a big thing, like post show? I'm sure, because I was talking to like Melissa. She seemed to think like the press was actually pretty crazy for you guys once you came off that show.
Which
In
one?
terms of
The original?
the original one, yeah, and like you guys were getting a lot of opportunities. I know, people were dipping their toes into LA and stuff. I know maybe that necessarily, I mean, you said LA wasn't necessarily something that was in your cards, but were there opportunities like coming your way as far as like doing some
There
things?
were there were some things, and it's so here's why I think. Okay, so if you remember, um, our season our season when we ended was the first season of Survivor,
Yeah.
right? So it was literally, so everything just became like on level 10, you know, because Survivor was so good. So what happens is you get all these opportunities because people are thinking and they're like, okay, reality shows are really picking up. Let's do this. Can you do this? And what they're doing is they're trying to morph and fuse so many things together and get you to do something. Yes, unique, but I'm not. I didn't. I wasn't. I'm not trying to be in the spotlight. You know. Um, it just wasn't for me. I did a few things. I did some speaking stuff, and I tried it. And it was like, no, this I'm not. So it's just not for me, bro. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Everybody's different. Sometimes people go on the show with like an agenda. Maybe they're trying to leverage it into something more.
And
Or
that's not a bad thing.
yeah.
It's not a bad thing at all. But I also feel that when you speak into something into existence, which I have, um, I don't need to do anything more. Even though I will do things, I will certainly partake in some things, but I don't need to do it to make something happen. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
This is an absolute blessing where yeah, I can do podcasts and stuff like that, and that's fantastic. But someone said, "Hey, we want you to be in a movie. Is it a speaking part? Because I don't want to do that. Can I be like mute or something? Can I just be like, it's cheaper for you if I don't say any words. Come on, come on. I don't know, bro. I'm just not. It's just not me.
I don't know. I find that hard to believe though, because you do the YouTube stuff. You got your Chef Showtime thing. You're on front of
Right.
the camera there. But is
Here's
that
the
like
thing.
a certain thing? Like if it's your craft? Because I find this with myself too. In some regards, to maybe contrary belief, like outside of this, I'm not like somebody that necessarily wants to make a big splash into a room. I'm someone that tiptoes in. You know what I mean? But
Sure,
in
sure.
this setting, like I find myself like I can black out if it's something that's related to my craft. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Is that something that you experience too?
Well, here's the thing. So being an introvert, being a loner, I have ideas, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I have no one in my circle to say, "Hey, can you do this for me? Can you be actors and actresses or whatever like that?" Everything that I create, I have to do myself because I don't have a circle of people. So if you notice on Chef Showtime, I had the glasses. It's because I don't know where to look on the camera. I don't
Oh.
know. So what I did is I put on glasses so I can kind of be free and just look anywhere, and people think I'm looking at the camera. When in actuality, bro, I probably never looked at that camera once. You know what I mean? But the thing is, when you create as a writer, as a producer, or whatever, I don't have a wealth of friends or a wealth of talent of people to say, "Hey, can you play this role for me?" I also don't have the wealth of money to say, "Hey, can you play this role for me?" So I have to do everything. So I do the Chef Showtimes. I do, the ideas that I do are all because I need to at least put it out there to see how it works. So it's not so much that I'm not as introverted. It's just the job that needs to be done. Like I write a
Mhm.
script, I'll have to do it, and I do it. You know.
Yeah. Is that something like you want to leverage into anything else, or is that just something that you're, it's like your nirvana in a sense?
What leverage? What? I'm sorry.
Like the Chef Showtime stuff. Is that something you want to continue to grow into something?
Not really. I mean, I. So here's one of my faults, right? So I'll think of something like, oh, this is a dope idea. Yes, 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 yes. And then I'll start doing it, and then like 2 days later, I'll be like, you know what? It'd be even doper if we add this. And by the time I'm done, I've convoluted everything so much, I didn't have to start over. So I do that so often that it's like I add instead of letting things be. Because here's the thing, like those productions like take a lot of time. They take a lot of energy, and they take a lot of, and I'm the only one doing it. So I'm doing the lights, I'm doing the setting, I'm doing the recording, and this is all because I've chosen to be the private person that I can't ask for help. Not that I can't ask for help, but this is my project. I'm going to do it myself. So it's not that I'm not going to like fully go into it. But if a song comes up, sure, just go ahead and do it. The thing that I think people um, don't recognize is that even though you fail at some ideas, you still have that experience of doing it, right? So now that I've done the Chef Showtime and I've done a couple of other things, even though they haven't like gone to heights of greatness or whatever, I don't need that to happen. All I need to do is understand that, okay, now I have created, I can create songs about food. I'm getting very good at editing. I'm getting very good at setting things up. I can do a little bit better. But point is, I'm learning things that I need to do as I go. So now when I finally get to that one thing that says, yo, this is you, now I can say, okay, do we need any music? Because I can do the producing. Like everything that I do, I can do it in a proficient manner that makes the production go. So even though I don't push forward with Chef Showtime, I, if you look at the macro of things, it's all about music production. It's all about catchy things that people like, yo, that's a catchy hook or whatever. So then now as I write more, may not be Chef Showtime, I have confidence in knowing that I'm able to grab your attention with certain things.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's always about finding something new and finding a niche. Everybody's got
Right,
them. It's about
right.
finding yours.
No,
Yeah.
I absolutely, absolutely. And I don't really know if I have a niche or niche. I think that, yeah, I don't know if I just love to make stories, and I don't know what that means because sometimes a story is a piano riff, sometimes a story is a thought, sometimes a story is a song. So many thoughts. I don't, I need to find out what is my vehicle. But until I do, I'm steadily moving in the direction of progress. I still don't know, what I'm doing with life and
Hmm.
all that stuff. But along the way, I'm gonna do some pretty awesome shit, you know, and then It's gone on the echoes and the hallows of the universe. Just put it out there. I used to be so particular about, okay, this is not ready yet. It has to be perfect. But what is perfect? I'm the only one that's seeing it. I'm in this echo chamber, right? If I look at something, I create something, and it captures my attention, I'm confident fairly that it's going to capture other people's attention. However, I don't have anyone to bounce the, hey, can you check this out and see if this is cool? What do you think about it? I don't do that. So it's for me, it's a constant battle of create, 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 create. Okay, I forget about it. And then like 2 months later, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Let me see. I have so many things, bro. Like you have no idea. My computer is barely hanging on because I have like maybe 2 gigs of like memory left or RAM. It's like ridiculous, bro. So it's like that. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, no. I want to talk lastly now, kind of about one of the more recent topics from the show. Obviously, you don't watch the show and the finished product itself, but you lived there, or lived it out rather.
Right.
I know a big topic of discussion everybody wanted to speak about, or hear your perspectives on. There was the recent episode at the drag bar with you and Julie, of course. And for the most part, I would say like you've been getting a lot of positive reception and support along the way.
Sure.
Have you noticed that? Like, has people been coming in to you as far as like showing love and support thus far?
Well, that's what I meant by the DMs. I got a lot of DMs, and I was like, whoa, there's a lot of DMs back here. And there was a lot of support, and a lot of blessings and things like that. So that was that, yes. And I'm thankful for that, for sure, for sure. Did you ask a question, or that was just what was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, that was the question.
Okay,
I was gonna lead into something else, but I was
go
gonna.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I think that episode, you almost kind of like saw well, you didn't watch, but the foreshadow was kind of almost uncanny. And those are like the moments that I notice in reality television to where I know that's going to lead to something else, because it was always showing like you were the one person that like immediately warmed up to Julie in the house from the get-go, you know what I mean? Like there was a little bit of contention, but you were the one that kind of put yourself out there to kind of welcome her in with open arms. And then
Right.
we kind of saw that foreshadow happen, like you always see in reality television with that. And then once that scene at the drag bar occurred, and then you guys had the house meeting, of course. You kind of saw how the seeds were being planted in a sense. Um, that do you feel like that is like a real issue in reality TV that isn't talked about a lot? Because the whole root of that problem was, of course, how this is going to look when it comes out. If it looks like a man has put their hands on a woman, you know what I mean?
Sure, sure. What is your question? You said, was that what is
Is
it
that
then?
like a real problem? Do you feel like that exists?
Is in reality television? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. It's again, um, it's also part of the reasons I don't watch, right? So you have to be confident and you have to have a very strong mental like base. Because yes, that is extremely that is reality television. You're basically living a portion of your life to be interpreted by someone else, which even if they're interpreting it correctly or they just take it for what it is, that's still not what their job is. Their job is to get viewers, right? Their job is to give people something to talk about. So anything is fair game, right? So if it could have gone the other way, and that is, again, it would be fair because that's what the story that they were told, but it's not what happened, right? So it's a very big thing in reality shows that whenever you have other people telling a story, then yeah, that's gonna it's you're gonna miss on some things. You're going to not you're gonna misconstrue a lot. And it's almost like, okay, there's collateral damage, and then there's just like, for the most part, it's a successful season or something. So whenever your story is told by someone else, there's always a chance of it going completely out of stuff, and that's just reality television.
Well, you handled that situation very well, actually, and I mean, you were a great friend right along. I still am just like, I don't know how you brought yourself to sleeping on that floor, man, after the throw
Yeah,
up and everything.
well, you know what? I was because here's the thing, like I had to sober up really quick, and in situations like that, bro, um, like it's a trip because I don't okay, so I haven't watched, right? But I do remember everything that happened, and one of my things was that I needed because we don't talk to production unless there's like something, whatever, right? So I'm talking into my mic or whatever. I'm like, I need a female producer to come take her clothes off or carry her in the room or put her in bed and blah 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 blah. Because there's a lot of shit that like I'm just like thinking like of everything in totality, right? So I asked like for the female producers to come and put her in the bed. They did. Um, they took her mic off and all of that stuff. But the point is, I was cognizant of this because when things happen, the producers are there, but they're not, right? And I make jokes about like not being able to swim, but if I go into the ocean, yes, they have scuba divers, but you better believe the producers are probably going to say, "Yeah, wait about 10 minutes. Let's get a good,
Good shot.
whatever, good shot," and then they will. They're not going to let anybody die. They're not going to let anybody get hurt. However, they still have a job to do.
It's a fourth wall element to it.
So if I everything that I wanted to make sure that I asked for a female producer, it was just you're very very aware of things when stuff goes completely awry. You're
Hmm.
very aware of your situation. You're very aware of the infinite amount of stories that could happen, but there's only one true one. It's a trip. It really is.
Hmm. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to do this with me
Oh yeah,
today,
bro.
Tokyo. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
looking forward to the rest of the season. I know you don't watch, but
Yeah, I don't, and you can I mean, I'll get like little tidbits like, oh my god, I love that coat. I was like, I do too. That's why I wear it all the time. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a blessing, bro, and I'm really really like I think I'm doing this podcast, yours, and then one more, and then I'm calling it, because
Yeah.
um the thing is that you were the first to ask, and then I didn't even know the messages were there. Like this whole social thing is like new to me, but after this podcast tomorrow, it's like unless you're Barack Obama or somebody who whatever that I don't even know. I wouldn't even do that. I'm just like I want to see. Now if we win an Emmy, that's a whole different thing, bro. I'm going to that.
You've gone a victory lap at that point.
Right, bro. I'm like, I want to carry that home. I'm walking all the way home with that if that happens. I mean, that's complete, like, up there. I spoke it into existence, but that's a different thing. Who knows? But this, I really feel that when I was there, the feeling and the connection was amazing, bro. So if that's translating, that's because it's real. That's because it's real.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to start getting into another thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry, and thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, bro.
No,
Sorry for
yeah,
that, that
I'm
hiccup a little
flattered
bit,
that you gave me your time. You didn't have to do this, and I'm flattered that you took the time out.
and
Come
thanks for your
on.
patience. I didn't have Skype on either my phone or my laptop, so that was part of it. Is like you don't have Skype. I was like, fuck. Okay, let's get it then.
Hey,
So
you're not alone, man.
you know,
Zoom is like apparently overtaking Skype these
oh yeah,
days.
like
So,
yeah, bro. But I appreciate you, bro. We'll holla, and if something else comes up or something, then I know that now I have Skype and we can get back to it.
all right.
All right,
Take
bro.
care. Have a good
Thank you
one.
so much, bro. All right, man.